Alrighty, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, March 7th, 2024. I'm going to do a quick review here of what happened yesterday. There were some pretty good things. Jump on back, and right out of the open, you guys who were here know that we hit our first resistance. Was I added this level to the chart, put it in the report just a couple minutes before the open. We talked about it in the pre-market, and then right when the market opened, we held right off of it for a pretty significant pullback, probably the biggest pullback of the day. So we pretty much nailed the high of the open, and then we got a nice retracement of that push from earlier right down to bounce to the tick off the hopeful. Right? This is why I said yesterday we had just missed hopeful by a couple points for the largest rotation down, and typically we see it actually hit right into it. And there you have it for probably the biggest bounce of the morning. So we held right off our first expected resistance yesterday, that 61.8 retrace, and then we came down and held our one proprietary level, the hopeful, for the biggest bounce of the morning. And then from there, as you can see, it was actually a nice healthy stair step up. We held the 50% of the previous day in hopeful, bounced up through 50% of last week, and then pulled back and held that, and then got up through that 61.8 retrace that was the resistance right out of the open, and basically bounced within a point or two of it there, maybe 3 points of it, for this attempt to continue to push. So pretty good stuff if you ask me. There were some notable little rotations off of the back end of the 200 as things started to sell off. We even held the back end of 50% of the previous day, or attempted to, for a number of times here. Again, the bears tried to hold us right off the 200, and then we got that reversal. So pretty good stuff. As the market continued to push, we came just a point or two from the high of the day before. So remember in the report I said if we can get through 61.8, then the next expected resistance was going to be a retest of that previous daily high, and it was anyone's guess what was going to happen in that area, and sure enough, it fell just a point or two in front. And then we got the breakdown. Now, there was a good opportunity for that breakdown, crossover, and first test of the 200. It just didn't really get anywhere, right? I think you might have gotten maybe 2 or 3 points out of it, and then they had to come up, and that, my friends, is really that textbook setup that I talk about where we make a strong high for the day. We pull back, bulls attempt to come back and retest it, and they fail just in front of it there. And then we start to get the breakdown. Now, in this instance, when price came all the way back to the 200, you would have gotten stopped out on that setup because it just went ahead and kind of popped through by a couple points, 5, 6, 7 points, and then continued on its merry way lower. But you did get that nice step right off of the 61.8 as price was failing lower, and even off VWAP there, it just didn't get enough strength for the pullback, or weakness, I guess, in that instance. Wasn't weak enough to go ahead and push right down. And let's see what ended up happening here as we got towards the end of the day. Ended up pulling back and bouncing right off our new roadmap level that we added to the charts a couple days ago for a beautiful opportunity to buy and take profit just in front of VWAP there, where we got basically 3 attempts by the bulls to get back up through VWAP. It just didn't happen. And then, of course, beautiful hold right off 50% of the previous day. Basically the low of the morning, if we go all the way back, just bounced 1 tick or couple ticks in front of the low of the morning, right off that 50% level. And then it just got super messy for the end of the day. So there were a lot of really, really good opportunities. Yeah, in some instances, in fact, one of my favorite setups here, the push back up to test into the 200 after we get a major failure and we peek through the VWAP there. And unfortunately, that wouldn't have worked. But lots of other great opportunities throughout the day. And if you ask me, pretty impressive stuff. I mean, holding right at the open, getting the bounce right off of that very critical pocket there, coming up, failing just in front of the previous daily high. And then on the pullback, getting these beautiful holds right off of our roadmap levels, very discrete areas in the chart for those small micro rotations throughout the day there. So really good stuff. And then, yeah, the end of the day was a pretty messy market. Nothing really notable to talk about other than the fact that they still ended up holding to the tick off our roadmap level down here at 99.25. So that brought us into the overnight session here. And as you can see, beautiful hold from 50% of the previous day here. We didn't have Hopal on the charts, right? That didn't print until about 5 a.m. my time. But beautiful hold off 50% of the previous day. And you can see, obviously, a very, very strong pullback. Even held it right to the tick here off the VWAP. And then we bounced. Where did we bounce? Oh, right off that new roadmap level we added to the chart, which was super relevant earlier in the day there, or earlier the day before, right? That's where we came down at some point, or maybe we didn't. I thought we did. But beautiful hold there in the overnight session off of it. And then we couldn't get through 50% of the previous day, got the pullback through it. There's your peak below and bounce setup, right? Really good support off the roadmap level. Peaks below it, and then we get the rotation back up. And now here we are testing into the high of yesterday. So pretty good action in the overnight session as well. If you were looking to make a little bit of money here in the last hour or two, that pullback to the fast moving average would have been probably the best opportunity. So let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames